Hey girl, hey, welcome to Tia's Table. Let's talk about everything from the latest fitness and wellness trends, recipes that are actually worth cooking, and the craziness that's happening on our side of the internet. Sit back, grab a snack, and let's have some girl talk. Hey girl, hey, welcome back to another episode of Tia's Table. It is 5:09 on Wednesday. We are on spring break here at my house. I've been loving that. I've been loving sleeping in. I have been loving having slower days. I have been loving not being rushed by the impending doom of school pickup, being able to just have dinner and really real talk. We've been eating out for dinner, except for today, which today I kind of fumbled. Today I was supposed to defrost meat. I kept forgetting to defrost the meat. Then the children wanted to go out to go shopping. I said, fine, we'll go out, we'll go shopping. While we're out, I will buy meat since I kept forgetting to defrost the meat. We went in two different stores that I could have bought meat from. Do y'all think I bought that meat? No. As we are driving home, right as we were about to turn into our subdivision, I said, y'all let me go in both of those stores and not buy meat. And it's literally all I have been talking about all day. Those kids was like, that sounds like an adult problem to me. Because we can't go back. Like, we cannot go back into another store with you, which, mind you, it was their idea to go to stores in the first place. They were like, no, we can't. Luckily, I had bought them something to eat on the way home. So it's not like they were hungry or starving or like there was going to be like a panic in the kitchen for me to whip together something. So they're full and they're happy and they're all off now back in their respective corners doing whatever it is they do when we're home. I am sitting here waiting for meat to defrost. And I said, well, while I'm waiting and I have this downtime, I may as well call my girls because I have a lot to talk about. Now, before we start talking about all these things, normally I do share some food and I try to give some good food inspiration. I really do. But because it has been spring break, I really haven't been like pressuring myself to cook anything here lately. So what I will do is I will tell y'all two things. One, if you still have not been trying the sardines and the leafy greens for breakfast, girl, give it a shot with some type of eggs. Eggs your favorite way. I'm repeating this breakfast because I really do feel like it's a game changer. It's light. It has a lot of protein. It has a lot of fiber, especially if you have it with some type of like multigrain toast or one of the vegan bagels that we like. Just remember, if you get those thin vegan bagels, you got to eat two in order to get the numbers on the back. But like, yes, girl, the bread that I get, and I'll make it a point to share the bread again. Ooh, no, I think I ate my last two slices today. So I'll find a picture of it on the internet and I'll share it on Instagram sometime after this post goes live. But I get a multigrain bread that has, I want to say 38 grams of carbs, which is great. It has 9, I believe, grams of fiber and maybe like 6 grams of protein. Whatever it is, it's like perfect and it tastes good. It's got seeds on it. So if, I guess if you're allergic or you don't like seeds on your bread, maybe you won't like that. But it is a really great bread to have into your rotation. And it's not white bread. It's not white bread. It is whole wheat. So it works. It works for the numbers. It really works for what you need it to do. And that's really to provide you with a boost of fiber at the beginning of your day. I'm going to start making it a point to really drive home that fiber really is that girl, more so than protein. I don't even track my protein anymore because I know I'm going to end up eating it, right? By the time I eat all of the meals all day, I know I'm going to get a certain amount of protein in, but I'm not being so like anal about making sure I get like 120 grams or exactly 100 grams. Like I don't even care. But you know what I do care about? I do care about getting as close to 30 grams of fiber as I can in a day. And I have been doing that by having my vegan bagels with breakfast or having that multigrain toast with breakfast, having some avocado, having some berries or a banana or something during the day, having lots of leafy greens, eating a sweet potato. And I know as I'm saying this, somebody is probably freaking out because she's like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of carbs. And I try to do low carb. Like, listen, girl, first, if you're working out and if you're doing our daily walks like we said we would, you need carbs, because you need the energy. We got to stop being so afraid to eat food. Eat it. Eat it. Let me tell you, and hopefully this is not too much and no one feels like I'm tooting my own horn, but I wore a pair of size 6 jeans last week and the waist was too big. And you know why? It's because I eat a lot of fiber. So my waist is not protruding the way that it used to because I'm eating food and food is coming out of me. If that colostomy bag didn't teach me nothing else, it taught me that what goes in should always be coming out in a timely manner, in a way that keeps you feeling like not bloated. I don't even know another way to say that, but you shouldn't feel bloated or like stuffed or like packed in there. Like you just shouldn't. And now that I know what it feels like to not feel that way, like, girl, I'm going to do everything I can to stay as close to that feeling as I possibly can. And it really wouldn't be like me to have all that information and keep it to myself and not share it with you. So I'm telling you, load up on that fiber, girl. If y'all like chia seeds or like flax seed or like whatever, pull up foods that are high in fiber. Pick the ones you like to eat or pick the ones you know you could make work for you on a regular basis, and girl, start eating them. I shared the other week that I like using those carb balanced tortillas because when we are going to have tacos, like tonight, we're having tacos or taco bowls, whatever they want to do. There's going to be a buffet of things down there for them to pick from. Tortillas is one of them. And I'm like, yeah, if I'm going to eat a tortilla at home, I'm going to pick the carb balance tortillas because there is 17 grams of fiber in one. So if I eat 2 tacos, baby, that's my fiber goal for the day. Now, I did have someone reach out to me about, I guess, the tortillas maybe not being like the best choice because of some of the ingredients that are in there. And I can't think of what the name of that app is called right now, but there's that app. Is it called Yuka? There's an app that people like look at to determine if foods are like good quality foods or bad quality foods or whatever. And I respect that. I respect the love of the ingredients. I really do. But I also kind of feel like nothing is going to be all or everything, right? We're not going to be able to have it all of the time. And for me, I'm like, yeah, if I have tortillas like a couple times a month, I think I'm going to be all right because I literally eat so many other whole foods that are good for you that I would like to believe that it balances itself out. So I have a peace of mind about that. Also, you notice that I don't recommend a lot of things that are just crazy processed. Like you've never heard me recommend like protein chips or what is something else that people do? I could give a really good example for this, but I know it would piss somebody off. And just because of the way my attitude is set up these days, I know I shouldn't. But what I will say is a lot of the stuff that's marketed as healthy foods that are good for you are heavily processed things. Like they are heavily processed things that maybe you shouldn't be eating. And if you really sit back and think about it, you're better off eating things that are just what they are. For example, and this should be an okay example. For example, if you like having a soda, girl, you're better off drinking that straight up Coke than you are drinking a Diet Coke just because it's 0 calories or 0 whatever. Just drink it because you probably don't drink soda often enough unless you're a chronic soda drinker, in which case, girl, we gonna keep you lifted in prayer that you can every day you can do a little less. You know what I'm saying? But if you're someone who really does just drink water, maybe you have coffee and that's really all you do, good. Well, then the occasional soda, when you have one, girl, it's not going to be enough to do anything to you. You may as well just drink the real deal straight up. You may as well. So there's one thing. That's one thing about food that I kind of wanted to discuss. Something else that's not necessarily food, but as we are coming into the spring and summer months, the warm weather of it all, I recently came across something on the clearance rack at Kroger. I got 6 of them for $2. I don't even know what the regular price is for these things. I will actually look that up because I would like to give out accurate information because they were really that good and they are super low in calories. They would be a great substitute actually for soda. It is the Izzy sparkling juice drinks. They don't have any sugar in them. And apparently a 6-pack is actually $8.50 at Kroger, which means I got them for a steal. Oh my gosh, because I only paid $2 for them. But I got the watermelon flavor. Apparently that is in low stock right now at my Kroger, and for good reason, because it is delicious. Like, oh my gosh, it was delicious. And I'm sure this watermelon Izzy would have been delicious all by itself. But I mixed a little bit of Tito's vodka in mine. And let me tell you how you literally can have a delicious cocktail for like 25 calories. Probably even less, because the whole can, I think, is 50 calories, if I'm not mistaken. Don't hold me to that. I just know it's low. And it was good. And when I took my first sip of it, I said, oh my gosh, I have to alert the girls. I have to tell them that if you are thinking of having cocktails at home, because, it's going to be the summer and libations just kind of go with that, girl, get yourself one of these sparkling juice Izzy drinks and mix it with a little bit of Tito's, and you cannot go wrong. Now, I guess you could also mix it with rum if you like that, but I would say do the Tito's, and then you come back and tell me. Now, I would like to think that it would be really cute if you garnish this with the lime. Like, I could see that really setting off something. Like, if you're hosting and you want it to be super cute, I could see a lime working really well here, especially if you dehydrated some limes and you let like a lime float in the top. That would be super cute. Or if you just put one like on the edge of the rim of the glass, girl, yes, super cute. Super cute. And it tastes so good. Now, Cookie is barking because that is just what he's been doing at this point in his life. And I don't know if y'all can hear him. He's on the other side of the door. I did not let him come in here with me today because I'm like, your friends are home. You can be out there with them. You don't have to be right up under me right now. So yeah, let's talk about workouts really quick. Because I did tell everyone last week, girl, let's walk every day until Memorial Day. And I have been chatting with people about the walking ever since. And just in my conversations, it occurred to me that the walking is actually a bigger ask than what I maybe would have thought that it was. And I think I understand why now. Okay, so there are a couple different types of walking that we can do. For the sake of what we're doing right now, walking to Memorial Day, there is no amount of distance you have to do. There's no amount of time you have to do. It's just whatever walk you can do it. And that fulfills the challenge between now and Memorial Day, right? The idea is just to get out there and get moving as we build up to the summer. That's it. But if we want to have a conversation about walking and the difference between maybe just going for a stroll after dinner and actually walking with the intention to like burn fat or lose weight, yeah, we can talk about that here really quickly. So, and I will only speak from my own experience because my body is the only one that I truly know, right? When I go outside and let's say like I'm walking my dog, right? I'm walking at my dog's pace. I'm starting and I'm stopping. I'm probably walking really slow because I have a very small dog. So my heart rate is not increasing. And for what it's worth, like I'm barely moving, right? When I'm walking through the grocery store, it's the same thing. I'm starting and I'm stopping. I'm walking very slow because like I'm strolling, I'm looking, I'm browsing. I'm trying to make sure I didn't forget anything. Both activities lead to me getting steps, which is good, right? Anytime you're active is good, but that kind of walking doesn't necessarily always result in the type of changes you want to see when we're talking about having fitness goals, right? So the difference is when I say like, oh, I'm about to go for a walk, like I'm walking for my workout. Oh, I'm number one, I have on cardio shoes. So there's that. When I'm walking that dog, I probably got on my husband's Nike slides, or I have on God knows what. None of it is appropriate for like actually walking. You know what I'm saying? When I'm at the grocery store, I got on whatever shoes look best with my outfit. I have on those little Tory Burch flats that I love, by the way. If I never gave an update about those, they were worth whatever I paid for them. Love them, and they go with everything, and they're so light. Now, when I first started wearing them, yes, they did hurt the back of my heel, but once I broke them in, girl, we've been good as gold ever since. But I probably have on those, or like Birkenstock sandals, or Birkenstock slides, or I probably have heels on, depending on what's happening in my life. But I probably don't have on no sneakers. I can tell you that right now. And so because of that, that kind of walking just would never lead me to any real fitness goals. When I say I'm about to walk and it's for my workout, I have on cardio shoes, right? I am walking at a fast pace, and my personal goal is to try to do something that lands me anywhere between 3 to 4 miles, which will take me an hour, give or take a minute or two here or there sometimes, but it is going to take me a full hour to walk that distance, right? Now, I have been walking on my treadmill for the most part, because lapping my neighborhood kind of bores me to death, right? So I have been walking on my treadmill. I put the incline up on number 4, so I'm not doing no crazy incline, nothing like that. My incline is at 4 and my speed is at a 3.2. And I walk that for the majority of that hour. Now, of course, the first couple of minutes I start walking, I'm on a flat bed because I'm like warming up to the walk. The last couple of minutes, I'm on a flat bed because I'm trying to cool down and like bring my heart rate down before I come back upstairs. But the rest of that time, yes, incline of 4, speed 3.2, and I am walking and I am sweating and I am in zone 2 for my cardio the whole time. Like when I mean to tell you I'm sweating, walking, I'm sweating. But if someone were walking next to me, I could talk to them. I could talk to them the way I'm talking to you right now. Like I'm not winded. I'm not out of breath. I'm not hunched over. I'm not holding on to the treadmill. Like I'm pumping my arms and I'm walking, and I could talk. Like, as a matter of fact, I talked to my brother on the phone this morning during my walk. So you want to walk powerful enough that it does get you a little misty, right? You do enter into a zone 2. And for some people, you might enter into zone 3, depending on where you are in your fitness journey. But that's okay, because the more you walk, you will eventually get to a place where you are able to walk that hard and you'll stay in a zone 2. You just have to train your cardiovascular system, right? But you're able to hold a conversation and really hit a nice, good little power walk, right? That is the difference. When I'm walking just to go get the mail, which I never do, but let's say I was going to walk to go get mail, I'm just kind of strolling up to the mailbox. I'm coming right back home. When I'm walking with the intent of it having some type of impact on my fitness goals, like, oh girl, I'm moving and I'm on an incline. Now, you don't have to do an incline. You don't. I do the incline because that helps me get into my zone 2 and stay there. If I didn't do an incline, then I would probably have to jog, and I don't want to do that. So I put it on the incline. If you're a person that doesn't mind jogging, then yes, stay on a flat road and intensify your time on the treadmill by upping it to a jog. Or for people who like to run, girl, just run. Just run and figure out for yourself what the mileage is that you need to get your steps. I know for me that if I get to about 4 miles gets me so close to 10,000 steps in that hour that I'm fine getting off the treadmill, whether I have the 10,000 steps or not. And the crazy thing about it is, depending on what I have done up until I get on the treadmill, sometimes I'm over 10,000 steps when I get off the treadmill. Sometimes when I get off the treadmill, I'm at like 8,500 or 9,000. And that's fine with me because I know as I walk throughout the rest of my day, I'll get close enough to 10,000. And for the most part, like most days, I actually just take my fitness watch off once I've done that time on the treadmill. I'll check and see what my steps are, and then I take that watch off and I put it on the charger so that I'm not obsessing over, well, did I get the 10,000? Because you'll mess around and you'll be going to bed because, see, that's the other thing. People think that they walk way more than they do. And really, you're not getting that many steps doing daily activities, but that's a conversation we can have on another day. Unless you're like a nurse or a teacher or someone who's on their feet all day. But if you are someone who sits for work, or you just have more of a sedentary like vibe to your day, you're not getting as many steps as you think you are. So there are days where I'm sure maybe I am coming up shy of 10,000 because I had 9,000 when I got off the treadmill. But then for the rest of the day, yeah, maybe I cooked, or, I came upstairs, I put a load of laundry in the washing machine, but that's not going to give me as many steps as we would all like to believe that it does. And because I don't want to be stressed out about that or making myself feel like, oh, now I got to go for a 15-minute walk just to cross 10,000. Like, oh, girl, no, we don't do that anymore at 42. At 42, I walk for that hour on that incline at that speed of 3.2, and I let go and let God have his way with them steps. And so far, it has been good enough for me. So I encourage everybody to figure out what that is for you. Are you a walker? Do you need an incline? Are you a jogger? Are you a runner? Would you prefer to do some different type of cardio altogether? I also do ride my bike for a very short amount of time every day. I only do about 10 to 20 minutes just to get my body like warmed up. So I do that as well. Do you like riding the bike? Figure out what your cardio situation should look like, and then whatever that is, do that every day. Do that every day. And what I have come to understand is that is a big ask, because you're asking people to do that every day in addition to strength training a few times a week. So yes, there are days where you will strength train and then you also will do these walks, and that feels like a lot and it sounds like a lot. The only advice I have for that is to try to find a strength training program that does not have you training for an hour, because you really don't need to be doing that. I know when you go to fitness classes are anywhere from 50 to 60 minutes, and they are formatted to give people rest in between exercises and things like that. So you're not actually working out that whole time. But if you can find something that works for you, that you enjoy, that's doable, that you have easy access to, then find whatever strength training program that is and do that a few times a week. But don't ever make yourself feel like you got to do more than 30 minutes. And I say that because if you strength train for 30 minutes and you walk for an hour, girl, that's enough. Like that's it. That's all you need to do. And you're not even strength training every day, right? You're not even strength training every day, but that would be enough. That is enough. Don't make yourself feel like you got to do more than that. And I think that is where people kind of get caught up on the walking, because they're like, well, I already worked out. Like, I already lifted weights for 50 minutes, or I already, like when I was going to Pilates, well, I already went to Pilates for 50 minutes, how am I supposed to do that and then also walk until I hit 10,000 steps? Like, that's asking of a lot of my time. And if I have that much time during the day, there are a lot of other things that I might want to go do because, we're women. So you might have like a nail appointment that's going to eat up your time that day. You might have a hair appointment that's going to eat up your time one day. You might want to go out to lunch, or you might want to go shopping, or you might want to get outside and enjoy time on your patio or in your backyard. You might want to sit and read a book. You might have other things. Like for me, I might really want to cook a new recipe instead of walking because I want to be able to cook it in perfect peace. You know what I'm saying? We have all these other things that we probably would love to do in that same time that we quote unquote should be walking. So, and that's what makes it hard. And most of the time, if we're being honest, you probably say to yourself, well, if I have to choose between walking and doing this other activity that brings me joy, I'm going to pick the joy, which is fine, girl. Like we love that. We love choosing the joy. But also, I just wanted to just have a conversation about the fact that walking really is what gives you what you're looking for. If you are strength training, if you're doing strength training of any kind and you're toning up and losing, or if you're toning up, losing inches, developing muscle and all of that stuff, that's great. If you really want to see it, you have to be walking. And that's what I want to leave the people with. Or you have to be doing some form of cardio. I'm not going to say you have to be walking. But if you actually want to see your results, and dare I say, if you would like to see your results in a way that feel a little bit more timely, cardio is, you just gotta embrace it. You got to embrace it, or you have to be okay with whatever routine you have and the results that it yields. And both options are okay. Both options are okay. I just wanted to come say that I completely understand why people have had a problem maybe in the past with the walking. And that is because it just takes a lot of time. It just takes a lot of time. And everybody is not a runner. Like, I'm not a runner. I would never consider myself to be a runner. I do not want to run. I don't like it. I don't understand. Well, unless I'm trying to save my life, I really don't understand it when walking is literally also a choice I could make. And so I choose to just walk because I can get the same results. It just might take me a little bit more of my time. So there's that. Also, the Ladder app has still been incredible. I'm about to finish up my program that I'm in right now, and I think I'm going to just run that program back. And then maybe after that program is over, I'll choose a different coach just to see what other trainers are like. But I have really enjoyed this program. I really feel like the exercises were perfect for where I'm at right now. And so my goal with doing it over again is to do it over again, but now with heavier weights, now that I can lift a little bit heavier. So, and to that point, I went out looking for 10-pound dumbbells today. Walmart did not have any. Five Below definitely has them and has them for the best price. And this is going to sound real stupid when I say it, but I don't like what their weights look like. And that would get on my nerves. Like their weights, and this also probably will not sound right when I say it, but their weights look like they cost $10. Do you know what I'm trying to say? They look like they cost $10. I want neoprene weights or like the cast iron weights. I want that. And I'm trying to figure out who is buying up all the 10 pounds. Walmart did have 12-pound weights, and I lifted one and said, absolutely not. Like, absolutely not. I already have 15s. So if I'm going to do this, I may as well put on my big girl panties and just lift the 15s. I need 10s, and I will have to keep searching for some until I find them, because that's really what I need. And I might end up having to go to like Academy or Dick's or to like a true sporting store to find them. But anyway, that's an update on the whole workout of it all. Now let's talk. Let's talk. And I don't know the order in which I'd like to talk about these things. So let's first talk about something that I saw on Substack about a week ago. And I forgot to talk to y'all about it then. So let's talk about it now. We're just going to build our way up. Also, in all transparency, I did make myself one of those cocktails. I'm going to take a sip of it. So good. Okay. So the name of this article was called Healing is Making Us Mean. And it's by Gloria Alamru. Hopefully, I didn't butcher that as as bad as I think I did. But if you pull up the article on Substack, there is a picture of James Baldwin up there. She has a quote from the Spice Girls. Now that I'm looking back at this, I'm like, oh, those two things are quite the opposites, are they not? But anyway, she starts off this article by saying, millennials are definitively the therapy generation. We made therapy so goddamn cool that it was weird if you weren't going to therapy. Seek therapy became an oft-used sign-off for snarky tweets or breakup text. We have diligently studied our neurosis into oblivion. We know when we're distracting ourselves or being self-destructive. We're hyper aware of our people-pleasing tendencies. We know our Myers-Briggs personality type, our love languages, and our apology language, which I didn't even know was a thing. We know when we're being avoidant or combative, and we know that we need to avoid listening to Sade when we're in our luteal phase because it's just too much. But then things kind of got weird. Therapy speak started to bleed into everyday interactions, as evidenced by many a viral screenshot on Twitter. Suddenly, people were churning out clinical HR responses for the unforgivable sins of checks, notes, friends asking them to help them move, pick them up from the airport, or worse yet, simply wanting to vent. An example. Hi, I'm so glad that you felt safe enough to come to me with this. I can see that you're in need of support. However, I don't have the capacity for this right now and need to honor that boundary. I appreciate your understanding. Let's get coffee soon. When you're better, though. XOXO. Okay, I'm not going to read the whole article, but that just kind of gives you an example of what she's saying, that people have taken like therapy speak and we're starting to like weaponize it so that we can kind of just not be supportive people, not be part of a community or not be a part of a village for the people that we claim to love. And I think she is so right. I cannot tell you how many times I have been on social media and I have seen people outright declaring like, I don't care where you flew in from, you need to catch an Uber or Lyft to my house because like I'm not coming to the airport to get you. Like, ooh, like I don't love nobody that much. I'll put my mama on an Uber or a Lyft. And I'm like, would you though? Like, would you? Because I'm sure y'all are probably the same people that would expect the red carpet to be rolled out for you when you go anywhere. Or maybe they wouldn't. Maybe people have gotten to a place where they're like, ooh, I don't do it for people. I don't expect people to do it for me. But then when does that become too much? Like the article says, people will need to call you venting, not that they are looking for you to have solutions, not that they are looking for you to have all the answers or know the right things to say. None of that. Sometimes people just need to call and be like, girl, guess what happened? And they just need for you to be along for the ride, down with the shenanigans that happened to them that day. Or they need to just express where somebody had them real messed up earlier that day. And are we not the kind of friends anymore that allow people to have that space? Or are people really kind of being like, ooh, I can't listen to her talk about this again. And I think it was either in this article or maybe it was another one that I read about a woman who I guess was having relationship problems. And so whenever she is talking to her friends on the phone or they all get together for like whatever they're gathering for, that is what she's talking about, her relationship and how I guess it's just going through such a rough patch and she doesn't know and blah, blah. It's like she's mulling things over all the time. And it's kind of like her friends had to tell her like, look, we don't want to hear you talking about that all the time. And it's kind of like, but if that's the big thing that's happening in her world, how can you tell her to kind of like hold on to that? Keep that to yourself. We've already talked to you about this one time. So you just hang on to that and figure it out. And I hate to be the person that thinks of like the worst of the worst things, but I really do feel like this is how the worst of the worst starts. Like, this is how it begins. When people start to feel like they can't reach out to you, or people start to feel like you're a burden to them, or you're a hassle, or whatever, people start to reach out to you less and less and less. Then I think what happens with that is then people are like, oh, well, whatever happened to so-and-so? Or has anybody talked to so-and-so? And it's kind of like, no, we haven't. Then you try to start checking on these people, and they are a little distant with you, but for good reason, because they probably feel like whenever they're around, they can't talk about the big things that are going on in their lives, because they maybe feel like you can't handle them, or you just don't want to hear them vent, whichever, I don't know. Or when people really need you, like, oh my gosh, I'm trying to move, or can you pick me up from the airport, or whatever. People just aren't there. And her point in this article is that she feels like millennials, like we have done this to ourselves. And I have talked about this before on the podcast, but my personal opinion about this is that this all started when Facebook started. When Facebook started, that is when the whole like people weren't going to talk on the phone thing anymore began. And I remember, because I'm a phone girl, I would go so as far to say that, yes, while I do text people, and now that voice notes are a thing, me and many of my friends, we do voice notes like all day long, and voice notes are great. But I am also the friend that if you were to call me, there is nothing that I would enjoy more than actually talking to you in real time about whatever it is you got going on. Because I like hearing the tone of your voice. Like when I'm reading text messages, sometimes I'm like, oh, well, I don't know if she's like upset about this. If she is just venting, is she looking for me to, like, sometimes you don't even know how to respond in text messages. And just also as a communications major graduate, actually, sometimes I don't even like putting things in a text message. Let me just say, the less you have in written form, the better off you are. And so for a lot of people, I would be willing to bet that you don't know a lot about their life and what they're going through because they don't want to put that in a text message. I know I wouldn't. Some of the things that I have either gone through or I knew about or whatever, the last thing that I would ever want to do is put that in a text message. Not that anyone that I know would do this, but girl, you don't never know. You know what happens with the text message? It can get screenshotted and sent to God knows who for what reasons we don't know. But when you're on the phone with somebody, it just goes back to the tale as old as time. He said, she said, he said, she said, right? And I feel like nothing is better than being able to actually have a real conversation with somebody so that you do feel heard. I feel that a lot of people, especially I think the people who could identify or relate to what she was talking to in this article, I feel like people do just at the end of the day, they just want to be heard. And they want to be heard in a way that you cannot be heard in a text message. You just can't be. And as a millennial, and I would like to say that I guess I'm an elder millennial, I suppose. As an elder millennial, I really wish we would have done a better job about keeping lines of communication open and not making each other feel like we literally had to be like penciled in and scheduled in to just have regular like girlfriend conversations. I really do think that that is like crazy. And I think it takes away from having that good girlfriend experience. Like if I can't just pick up my phone and call you at a random time. Now, granted, if you're at work, like, girl, I understand. And people really should respect people's working hours. But I'm like, if all is what it should be, meaning people aren't at work, we're like all just kind of in our little places doing our own little things. And if you can pick up the phone when someone is calling you, I would love to hear from someone why you don't. And this is not me like asking like in a snarky way or like explain yourself to me way. This is me genuinely being like, please help me understand. And then I will come back up here. I'll leave your name out of it, but I will share with the others how some people might feel about picking up the phone. Because I feel like when that went away, all of this other stuff kind of like came in strong. I also kind of feel like some people are just the people that do, and some people are just the people that don't. And what I mean by that is some people are just the kind of people that will come pick you up from the airport, and some people are really the people that will like pat you on the back as you get into your Uber, and they're gonna wave to you from their porch. And I would like to believe that the people, listening to this call, we're more of the, oh girl, when does your flight get in? Like, I'm gonna come get you, blah, 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 blah. We are warm welcomers into the situation. We are not, girl, get into a car with that stranger and pay them $50 to bring you to my house. Yeah, no. No, I can't think of one friend that I have that if she flew into Atlanta to come see me, and I know people that live in big cities are going to be like, but the traffic. What about that woman's life? Do you know what I'm saying? What about her life? Which I know the likelihood that something would happen to this friend is probably low. But girl, we really don't know because we're living in the upside down right now. We're really living in the bad place. The worst of the bad place. I feel like that's where we are right now. And so, yeah, if a friend did fly in to come see me, I would be like, okay, girl, what's the airline? What time are you getting here? I for sure am coming to pick you up. I'm not going to put you into the car with a stranger and have you sit in traffic with them. At least if you're going to sit in traffic, it'll be with me, somebody you know, somebody that you're comfortable with. Like, really, what are we doing? But that article, I will share it over in the Instagram stories so that people can go read it for themselves, because I read it, and as soon as I was done with it, I was like, oh, for sure, let me share this on Threads, which I did. And I even had conversations with friends who saw it over there, and they were like, yeah, absolutely. That article is like spot on. And as a sisterhood, I feel like we really could do better with just being there for each other, especially with everything that is going on right now. Just be there. Just be there. We could all use a little kiki every now and then. I watched the first episode of The Real Housewives of Atlanta so that I could come here and talk to you about it. And maybe I'll save you the hour. I don't know. Now, when they first put out that trailer, I was like, ooh, this actually looks like it might be like the Real Housewives of Atlanta of days past, right? But with the new cast, with the fresh new cast, fresh new faces, people that I am not familiar with because I haven't watched this show since Portia accused Candy of all of that stuff, right? That is when I stopped watching. Okay, so let me see, because I would like to also say some nice things about it, and I'm going to try to find them. If you just give me a second, let me find something good about it. Let me find something good, and I'm sure, okay. Something that I thought was good is that you get to see Portia post-divorce, and it looks as if whatever prenup she had in place, it stayed in place, because Portia got that big, beautiful house all to herself in that divorce, and I feel like that's a plus, girl. That's a plus, because if you are going to marry somebody and be with them, and it changes your lifestyle in a way that you and your child have become accustomed to, yeah, you deserve to hold on to a little bit of that should things go left in a way that you were not expecting. And that's what happened to Portia. And to that note, another positive thing is Portia said she's paying all the bills over there. So let's give her a round of applause for being able to also just afford that lifestyle all by herself, sans husband. And I'm almost certain that that's where the positivity is going to stop, because there is a woman on that show named Kelly. Kelly has a peach. So Kelly must have been on this show for at least a couple seasons. Maybe she used to be someone's friend. I don't know. On this episode, she was Shamia's friend, who used to be Portia's best friend. And I guess they're not best friends anymore. But when I mean to tell you, Kelly all by herself is reason enough for me to not watch another episode. Kelly is reason enough for me to not watch another episode. Kelly overstimulated me. Kelly overstimulated me. Kelly, I don't know if Kelly is acting. I don't know if Kelly is trying to make sure they don't take that peach from her. But nothing about Kelly's airtime seemed natural to me. She never seemed like she was at ease. She never seemed like these are people that she hangs around with all the time. She was looking like she was chomping at the bit to either be funny or snarky or sassy or something. And I'm just like, oh yeah, no, I'm probably not going to be able to do this for the whole season, solely based off the fact that you are a main person on this show, and I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. Very cute girl, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. Then the episode was about a dinner party that was at Portia's house. Portia invited couples. Well, she invited all the girls and gave all the girls a +1. She wanted them to bring the people that they were dating. So many, well, not so many, but like a couple of the girls had to bring people on FaceTime. Okay, which I'm like, I don't know if it was that deep. Could you have not just said you couldn't come because he wasn't available? If it was really like mandatory that you bring somebody, or could you have just not come by yourself and been like, oh, so-and-so is like out of town. He's out of the country, but I still wanted to come. Like, I'm sure it would have been fine. But the fact that they had these men on FaceTime really aggravated me. And I really don't know why. I probably need to give that some more thought, or quite possibly not think about it at all, because we are talking about the Real Housewives of Atlanta. So, yeah, so that was weird. K. Michelle, I think, is new to Housewives. She bought her husband, who I think she said they met in high school or something like that. So she's known him for a long time. Side note, remember she used to go with Idris Elba, and they broke up. And whenever I see K. Michelle, and I'm like, dang, girl, you used to go with Idris Elba, but now you don't. You're married to this dentist, which good for you, sis. But my goodness, I would like to hear more about your time with your ex-boyfriend. If we could, no disrespect to Sabrina, but I would like some of the details. Anyway, so she's there. Who else is there? Shamia does not bring her husband. I think her husband just doesn't want to come, but she comes. Who else? Portia has a man with her who they say was like a hired boyfriend. And I can't remember who else had a man with them, like actually in the flesh. But anyway, I guess the elephant in the room at the party was the fact that Portia was having this couples party with a date in the house she used to have with her husband. And people kept talking about, oh, this was Simon's house. Like, she moved on too fast. Like, how's she going to have a man in this house? And like the ghost of Simon is probably and every time one of them said something, if I could have jumped through my TV and hollered at them, this her house now, I would have. Because what do you mean? This is her house now, and y'all are some haters, which is another reason why I'm not going to be able to watch this show, because I forgot about that. I forgot that y'all are grown women who at the end of the day really are haters. You really hate the fact that that girl was married to that rich man who had some stuff, and in their breakup, she got to hold on to some of the stuff. Y'all don't like that. That's not that man's house anymore. He does not live there. And am I wrong, or did they send him back to where he was from? Didn't he get kicked out of the country once they broke up? I don't know. I could be wrong about that. But what I do know is that's Portia's house now. It's Portia's house now. So she can have any amount of hired boyfriends come up and through there for these little dinner parties y'all be having. Because it's her house now, and y'all really don't like that. You probably also don't like that she had a husband, got rid of him when his stuff started going left, and she has somebody already in his place, in the flesh and not on FaceTime. I need another sip. Hold on. air got back to the back of my throat. But yes, that was basically the whole tone of the episode. It's kind of like Portia's having this party and she just got divorced 5 minutes ago. So what? So what? That's how I know y'all are not real girls. That's how I know you're not real girls. Because let me tell you something. If my friend called me and was like, hey, I'm having a dinner party. Having a dinner party on what's today? Today is Wednesday. Oh, girl, I'm having a dinner party on Saturday. By the way, I want you to know that me and so just signed our divorce papers. And if I show up to her dinner party on Saturday and she's got somebody else with her, do you know how much I'm going to care about that? Not at all. Like, I'm not going to care. I'm going to be happy for her and celebrate whatever it is she got going on. One, because it's none of my business. And two, girl, if this makes you happy, then it makes me happy. And let's keep the party going. Why do y'all care that that girl is still in that house? Why do you care? Why is it bothering you? Why is it bothering you? Now, there is a video going viral from that episode that shows Shamia doing like all these weird hand movements and gestures. That is her miming a text conversation that she had with Portia. That's supposed to be kind of giving you some type of insight of their falling out. And that was the whole episode. I really, really, really want people on that show, people who have something to do with that show, to talk to them about their styling and how it comes across on TV. Now, in person, all of that they got going on might really eat down. It might look good in person, but it does not look good on TV. It does not look good on TV. It does not look good on TV. And I really wish they would kind of tone down some of the glam. I just remember when the Real Housewives of Atlanta, the people would like show us their homes, right? They would get together for lunch and yeah, they would have their little messy conversations or whatever, but it was fun and it was entertaining and nobody was trying too hard to be like a star. You could tell it was just really them and this was just their real life. And these were people that they really actually knew outside of the show. It felt more organic and it felt more real. And I think that made it fun to watch until it wasn't. This right here definitely feels like a produced reality TV show. And I'm going to tune in for one more episode. But if I don't make it past the second one, if you never hear me mention Real Housewives of Atlanta again, after next week, you will know it's because I just couldn't do it. Because it was too much. It was too much. You know, I have been listening to Brandy's memoir. And I am right up at one of the most talked about parts of the book. And I felt like that was a good spot for us to just put a pencil in and let's discuss the beginning up until that point. Now, when she starts off, Brandy talks about her love of living in the South. She loved growing up in Mississippi. She loved going back to Mississippi for summer breaks once her family moved out to California. She talks about how she was bullied in elementary school. And what I really love about that is that she actually name drops the bullies. Like she gives you their first and last name. I love that. I love that. She also talks about how she ended up making a friend with one of the bullies that unfortunately ended up passing away. But she ends up becoming friends with that girl's sister, who really helps her build some confidence and teaches her that like, hey girl, if you keep letting people treat you like a punk, they're going to punk you every time you turn around. You're going to be getting punked. One day at dance practice, a girl steps to her, and I think that girl's name was Latoya. A girl named Latoya pretty much tries to chump Brandy in front of like the whole dance team. Brandy is like, okay, pretty much lets the girl get away with it. Nobody on the dance team, by the way, comes in to like step in for her or like be supportive or like say leave her alone, like whatever. They just left Brandy out there to basically be embarrassed. But the girl ends up going home. A couple days later, Brandy watches the girl walk home from school. She had been braiding what are those things called? The extension cords. She had been braiding extension cords together, walks across the street, rings that girl's doorbell, and beats that girl with those braided extension cords. And it's basically like, keep my name out your mouth. Don't talk to me. And if you see me, act like you don't. And she said nobody ever bothered her again after that. And I would imagine so. She says when she was younger, there was an incident in church, and I'm telling it out of order, but there was an incident in church where she, was supposed to start singing and it kind of didn't happen, and she kind of felt embarrassed. Then as she would go throughout school, she would run into instances where people would kind of make her feel bad for her talent. Like kids would be like, well, girl, you ain't all that. You can't really sing, whatever. She ended up going to a school where a teacher told her that, like, even though you can sing, you're not drop dead gorgeous. Like, you're not beautiful. So that's why I don't sing you out on any of the auditions, because while you might be able to sing, you're not pretty. That's why when the school puts on productions, you don't ever get the lead, even though you might be a talented singer. Like, girl, you're not drop dead gorgeous. And she said that phrase stuck with her, like, you're not drop dead gorgeous. You're not drop dead gorgeous. Then she talks about how she ends up meeting a manager of Immature, and he really likes her talent, but he's like, oh, wait until you're 14. Somewhere in between there is when she's on Thea. Now, I don't know if y'all remember when Thea used to come on TV. Thea only had one season, but it was with the famous comedian Thea. I remember that show because I remember it was her and Jason Weaver. They were Thea's kids. Apparently, off screen, Thea did not really like Brandy and was like mean to her. Until one day when her mama came to the set and was like, yeah, I'm going to sit right here next to the director all day and we going to see how all of this pans out. Don't know how much that really actually ended up helping Brandy, but Brandy said that on one of the episodes, she sings Aretha Franklin's R.E.S.P.C.T., Respect, And after that, there was a little bit of shift in Thea's attitude, but really at the end of the day, it didn't matter because the show ended up getting canceled after a season. Now, once that happens, somewhere about in there, when she's 15, she starts recording her first album. Like, she ends up getting a record deal. Let's fast forward. She ends up signing a record deal at 15. So she's making songs. Everybody's happy with the songs. Everybody's happy with the way that the album is taking shape. She's signed to Atlantic Records, by the way. And where was she? Ooh. Was she nope, she wasn't at a concert. Maybe I should have written this down. I can't remember how. Oh, she meets him, I think, at All-Star Weekend. I think she met Boyz II Men for the first time at All-Star Weekend in Arizona. Sometime after that, he calls, because at that time, Brandy's single was like all over the radio and it had knocked their song off of the #1 spot. He ends up calling her and basically asking if she wanted to come on tour, or if they wanted to work together or like something. No, that first phone call, I'm going too fast. It's the cocktail. That first phone call was like, do you want to hang out? He and her mama is the one that took the call, stood in the doorway while Brandy was on the phone with him because the mama already knew what the phone call was about. They get off the phone and I guess they're squealing like they're so excited. He just wanted to like come, I guess, see her. So they allow them to meet. And when I was listening to her talk about this, I'm like, okay, well, maybe her mama and them thought that this was like an industry thing. Like, oh, he wanted to just come meet her because he wanted to see who this was that was so talented and so new to the music scene and who was becoming so successful right out of the gate. Maybe that's what they thought this was about. I don't know. But okay, so they meet, they have that time. He comes to see her when she's like hanging out at a family friend's house or something like that. Later, he calls back and asks like, oh, do you want to go on tour with Boyz II Men? Make a long story short, they end up having some type of a relationship. She talks about how she would be on stage. She would look off stage and he would be looking at her, giving her thumbs up from the side. He would give her flowers before the show. And even though she knew like they weren't supposed to be together, he would say to her, like, oh, I guess by this time she was 16. He would say things to her like, oh, I can't believe my girlfriend is 16. And they knew enough to know not to make that public knowledge. And so whenever they would get asked about it, they would say like, oh, like we like each other, but we're going to wait until she's 18. But Brandy said, no, they were really like together. They were together. She talks about how she would be at his apartment and they would go get takeout and watch movies. She talked about losing her virginity to him. She talks about how now she feels like she can see where he was grooming her. She talks about how he always said little things to her to make her second guess herself. So for example, if they were riding in the car and they were listening to music, he would be like, why don't you harmonize like so-and-so? Or why don't you use a technique like so-and-so? So that it would just, drop a little breadcrumb in her own mind that like what I'm doing is already not enough, or like he doesn't think I'm as good as this singer or that singer or whatever. Then she finds out that he's sleeping with other women. And of course it shatters her heart because she's 16 and she thought that they were really in love, like that he really cared about her and all of that. And then she realizes that like, no, like he played me. And I think her direct quote from the book is, I'm young, but I'm wise enough that you just played me. And it's kind of like, yeah. And it's like, you hate that for her. It's like, ooh, you hate that. And she had a boyfriend before that was more of like a regular teenage relationship. They would talk on the phone. That boyfriend ended up cheating on her. I guess they had told each other they were going to be each other's first. He ends up calling her one day. His name is Anthony, by the way. He ends up calling her one day and it's like, look, I got to tell you, I had sex with somebody else. And of course, broke her heart. Then she ends up in this relationship that she should have never been in to begin with Wanye. He ends up playing her for a fool and it breaks her heart. She said that she kept the relationship a secret from everybody and that her parents didn't even know. But once the tour started and they started to see how they were interacting with each other, they kind of called her out on it. And then she confessed to it. And she said that her parents didn't like it. And I just kind of wonder, I don't know. I just kind of wonder what they thought was going to happen when he called asking if he could come see her. Like, it wasn't a meeting. The rest of the group wasn't there. Like, all of Boys to Men did not come see her. It was just him. So what did they think that was for? And then they did the duet with one another. And I don't know. I'm like, what were y'all thinking? Like, were you not thinking? And he was in his 20s. So to me, I'm like, you saw a 15-year-old at NBA All-Star Weekend. And out of all of the grown women you saw at NBA All-Star Weekend, a 15-year-old Brandy is the only one you thought enough of to seek her out after All-Star Weekend was over. You, a man in your 20s that is in the number one R&B group in the world. I would say country, but I really do recall Boys to Men being like big everywhere, not just here. So yeah, you could have had any woman. Now I'm not going to say he could have had any woman. Because let me see, if I was of age and I was at All-Star Weekend and Wanye would have stepped to me, I would have been like, ooh, Wanye, step back because you might be blocking one of my blessings. One of my blessings might be somewhere else in here, and I don't want them to think that it's something that it's not. You're a little too short, and your head and your neck do that weird wiggly bobblehead thing when you sing, and that would have been a no for me. But you saw Brandy and felt like, yeah, like she says in the book, and I wholeheartedly believe what she says. He saw her and just felt like he had to have her. Like he had to conquer her, I think is the word that she used. And she sees now where that was just like a bad, toxic situation that she should have never been in. And she said that whenever she's tried to talk about it or discuss it, whatever, that he likes to rewrite history and he likes to play it down when really she's like, nah, I actually lost my virginity to that man as a teenager. Let's not lose the facts when we're trying to rewrite all this history. And so now I'm really at a place where, and that's where I'm at in the book, where she's about to close out her time with Wanye, I think. But I'm also kind of like, okay, so are we not listening to Boys II Men anymore either? Like, the list is getting mighty long, because y'all know Usher showed out not too long ago, and I know we're not talking about him, but Usher showed out not too long ago on social media talking about his support of Diddy. And so I'm like, every time I have heard Usher's voice since then, I've kind of been like, Usher, you always had the option of not saying anything at all, actually. Why are y'all doing this? Why are y'all speaking out if you're going to speak out and say all the wrong things? Also, as a side note, unrelated to Usher and Brandy, I know last week we talked about the Lamar Odom thing, and I've been talking to a lot of people about it ever since. I just want us all to just make note that when Chloe was going through all of that, Chloe was in her 20s. I think she was 24. So let's just put that as an extra layer of WTF, because why was you dealing with that as a 24-year-old? Where was your mama? Like, I want to know where Sonia Norwood was when Brandy was sneaking around with Wanye, which I'm assuming that was easy for Brandy to do because she was on tour. So maybe they couldn't always keep their eyes on her. But Chloe, your mama loved to stay in y'all business, and she runs y'all's business, and she makes a commission off of y'all's business. Why didn't she say to you, girl, you're 24. You broke up with that man. Let that man figure it out. Because that's what I would have said. Like, as somebody's mama, had that happen, I would have been like, oh, we can pray for him. Girl, we might even be able to send him flowers. But what you're not going to do, you're not going to take your tail down to Las Vegas and be playing nurse. You won't be doing that because you're 24. That man said he wanted to leave you because he wanted crack that bad. Let him have the crack and let the crack have him. I don't know. But I have been loving watching all of the response videos about his documentary. And he has since gone on the Today Show, where he is like pretty much doubling down on the fact that, like, Chloe really, I mean, yes, she helped me, but it wasn't all that y'all making it out to be. Ooh, he deserves. Now, I did see one video that was like, say what you will about Lamar, he doesn't look like what he's been through. And I was like, ooh, now you gotta give the truth when the truth presents itself. You've got to give it its due. And I'm like, you're right. That man does not look like what he has been through. He does not look like what he has been through, but we cannot let that overshadow the fact that he's a disgusting person, and he really does need to give the girl the credit she deserves. My goodness, she was 24. And we're going to come back to Brandy once I listen to more of the book. I'll see how much I can listen to over the next week, and we'll come back to it. But so far, I feel like she's telling us way more than I thought she would. I really thought that Brandy was going to figure out a way to, like, share her life story, but still share it in a way that kept a lot to the imagination. I didn't think she would peel back the curtain as much as she did. And just based off of this chapter about Wanye, I'm like, okay, yeah, well, you're being pretty open about what really happened there. And girl, I believe you. I believe you because I remember when you came out and you were 15 and you look 15. And that's the thing that I just can't. Because me and my friends have also talked about how back when we were teenagers and these girls were also teenagers, we never for 1 second thought about how old they were. Like when I think about Aaliyah, I don't ever remember sitting back thinking to myself, how old is she? I always thought Aaliyah was older than me by like a lot, when really, no, me and Aaliyah were in the same age bracket. But I always thought she was older because I just have this theory that when people are on TV, they just look older for whatever the reason. They just present more mature. And I don't know if that's because of the media training. I don't know if that's just something that TV does to you. I don't know. But I do know when people are on TV, in my eyes and in my teenage eyes, they never look as young as they really
are, with the exception, I would say, of like Brandy and Monica. I remember when Brandy and Monica came out, I still have both of their CDs, like the real ones that came out in the 90s when they came out. Still have them with the books and everything. They're down in the basement. But I remember when they came out, Brandy looked like a teenager. And just in case I thought I was maybe not remembering correctly, today while I was on the treadmill, I went on YouTube and I pulled up the I Want to Be Down video, because she talks about the making of that video in this first section of the book too. And she talks about how she wanted that boy Anthony that she was dating to be her love interest, but for whatever reason, they were like, nah, it's not going to be him. I went back and I watched that video because I'm like, I want to try to see what Wanye saw. And when you look at that video, it's very 15. Like, that girl don't look nothing. She don't look 17. She doesn't even look 16. When I mean to tell you, she looks every bit of about 14, 15 years old. She looks young. Very young at that. She's not styled like she's a grown woman. Her hair, her makeup, her clothes, all of it looks like I remember dressing back then, in the stripes and the denim skirts. She looks like an 8th or 9th grader in that video. Crazy, bizarre. I don't know, especially with her having what we always thought to be like strict parents, like a smother mother. I would say Sonia Norwood has always come off that way. Was she a smother mother, or did she become a smother mother after that Wanye situation? I don't know. And I can't wait to listen to the rest of the book so that we can see like where things go for Brandy after that. I mean, I remember the music after that, but as far as her personal life, all I remember is Moesha, so I can't wait to hear about her time as Moesha. I cannot wait to hear the tea behind the Never Say Never album. And then whatever happened with the whole going to prom with Kobe. Is she going to talk about how she went with Mace and Shine at the same time, which would have also been in her Never Say Never era, because Mace is on Top of the World, the song. He's on that song with her. That's right around the time, I think, when Shine was coming out on Bad Boy. So I'm like, yeah, is she going to talk about all of that? Is she going to talk about having that baby, saying she was married, but she really wasn't? The show that came on MTV. Is she going to talk about any of that? Is she going to talk about that car accident that we saw her on the side of the road standing next to that Range Rover? Is she going to talk about that? There are so many things that I'm wondering if we're going to get answers to all of those situations as we move through the book. But so far, I'm very pleased with what tea she has spilled. And I gotta admit, I'm pretty shocked and surprised, because I did not think she would go into so much detail about it all. And I would also like to point out that I feel like her storytelling is quite nice. Like, I have enjoyed hearing how she's telling the stories as much as I enjoy hearing the stories themselves. I went to a creative writing class at the library yesterday. And I went to the creative writing class because I would like to get back into doing more writing online. And because I'm unsure of what I want that to look like and where I want to post the things that I write and like all of that, I was like, oh, let me take a creative writing class to see what I think, how I feel. Are my creative juices even there? You know, like, where am I in all of this? And so the creative writing class is at my library. I was shocked that it was a full class, like every seat in class was full. I would say there was probably about 15 people, somewhere between 12 and 15 people. In class, you're given a magazine. You have to go through the magazine and you circle a noun, an adjective, a verb, and a number. Then you pass your magazine to the right of you and you take the words that you're given and you have to write something using those words. You can write whatever you want. It could be a poem. You can write like an article. You can write a short story. You can write whatever you want. You can write an advertisement. Literally, you could write whatever you want, and you're given 10 minutes to do so. You do this 2 times. We go through 2 rounds. Round number 1, I was the last person to read mine. And as people were going through and like reading theirs, I'm like, dang, everybody wrote a short story, like with fictional characters. And I literally wrote like a magazine article. Like I didn't do, and then I'm sitting there thinking like, dang, do I not have an imagination? For whatever reason, I did not automatically like lean into writing something like that. And I was starting to like second guess myself. And so then I read mine and they clapped and they were like, oh my gosh, that was actually like, and see, sometimes I don't know how to take stuff, but they were basically like, that's not what we were expecting, but it was good. And I was thinking to myself, yeah, because I didn't think everybody was going to write like a short story and some of those stories were good. So it's not like it was like Dick and Jane, Cat in the Hat. Some of those stories were like legit good short stories that could easily be in any published piece of work, right? So then we do round 2. And so naturally for round 2, I'm like, I'm going to write a story, but I'm not going to give the character a name. I'm just going to refer to this woman as like she and her. And so I write this story using the words that I was given. And when I finish reading it again, they clap and they're like, wow, like that was like super healing. Like the woman in the story really went through like a healing process. Then before the woman that does the class, before she could continue on with whatever she was about to say, a cat jumped up in the windowsill outside and it distracted everybody. And so I didn't get any more notes past that. But what I learned from going to the creative writing class is that number 1, maybe I'm not as far off as I was telling myself I was in terms of my writing style. Number 2, I would like to go to another class, maybe not that exact class, but I would like to go to another writing class that maybe has a bit more of a curriculum to it. Like I would like to feel like I'm being taught something, that I'm learning something, as opposed to just exercising my writing muscle. Because if I wanted to just write, I could just journal. Like I could just start writing here at home. But I actually want to sit in a class and let someone give me what they feel are really good tips and tricks or like strategies for composing a piece. Then I would like to try to write based on the things I'm being taught and just get feedback based on what I'm able to create. So I'm going to keep looking for more writing classes and see what I'm able to come up with. But I just wanted to share that because I thought that was a fun, like different activity that I did. Now that I am officially at that place where I could start going to Pilates classes, I'm going to try. I'm going to call them. And first I'm going to ask like, hey, what's up with my membership? Because so far I haven't been charged anything for it. So I'm going to figure that out first. And then I'm going to just start going back to class slowly but surely and see how I like it. And I'm not going to make myself feel like I have to stay. If I feel like I don't like how that time is being used, I'm going to speak up and advocate for myself and be like, I don't know what the process is to take me out of here, but take me out. So, but I'm going to try first. And I'm also going to try to find my guitar teacher, because now that school is about to be out, I would really like to take some lessons while my schedule is not so dependent upon like their schedules. So we'll see. Even if that's online, I wouldn't mind doing the guitar classes online, to be honest with you. I just want to make sure it's a really good teacher. And that, for whatever reason, has been a little tricky to find. Although a friend did give me a referral for somebody, and I might have to ask her for that referral again, because I can't remember if they were online or if they were in person. But anyway, That's how my hobbies are going. Oh, and I had a friend ask me about how junk journaling was going. And girl, I can never remember to gather the junk. I'll go somewhere and do something and have a blast. And then on my way home, just like that meet today, on my way home, I'll be like, dang, I didn't keep anything from this experience to put in my junk journal. What I will say is I have created spreads based on the recipes that I've been doing, and that has been fun. So whenever I do actually remember to collect the junk, it has been fun doing the spreads. I just forget to collect the junk. So I'm going to have to try to be better about that. And maybe that's something that I should look up on TikTok. Like, is there a way to try to help yourself remember to collect the things? I don't know. But if there is, I'm going to see if I can't find that. But okay, girl, that's all I got for you today. I'm going to go downstairs and see if my meat has defrosted so I can go ahead and make some ground beef and some chipotle chicken and some salsa and some guacamole and some cilantro lime rice so that people can have chipotle bowls when and if they get hungry. I also got refried black beans because I love those. So yeah, we're going to do a quick little easy dinner. It should take me all of 45 minutes to make that stuff. And I'm excited to do it and get it over with and be sitting right back down on this couch. If there's something that you want to talk about on this podcast, girl, you let me know. I did message the group on Instagram before I got up here. And I don't know if I get Instagram alerts once I put my phone on Do Not Disturb. But yeah, if there's something that happens during the week that you think is interesting and or funny and you want us to talk about it here, message me because I'm always into what y'all find to be interesting and funny. And I would love to talk about that here. Remember, while you're out, compliment a woman, say something nice to her, make her day, make her smile. Don't compete, don't compare, don't complain. What God has for you is for you. And never knock another woman's hustle. I'll talk to you again real soon, girl. Love you. Bye.